Yo, what's going on? I am Scoots Bronson.
And I am S. Foster.
That's right. You tuned into another episode of the Viewers Anonymous podcast. What's going on with you, Brody?
Man, listen. I know we look, why we'll get there when we get there, but it had me emotional, man. But listen, I'm good, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm off this weekend. You know what I'm saying? Got through another week knocking out these packages, so I'm good, man. I'm good. Bills paid, so I can't really complain right now. But how you feel?
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I don't know how to feel at this point. Okay, because everybody's life has been turned upside down this past Wednesday. But outside of that, I feel okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing good. Can't complain. Enjoying life, man.
Man, I hear that, man. I'm glad to hear that because wait, man, listen. Hey man, I'm telling you, cause see, listen, you said Wednesday. I always watch it on Thursdays,
Yeah.
so it turned my life upside down on
Yeah.
Thursday, and I'm just like, man, it had me in a whirlwind of emotional roller coaster, man. So
I feel you. I
it's been
feel you.
wild. It's like even the pods I listened to today didn't even feel right. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Bro,
Hey.
I've been okay, so this was the thing, right? So I've watched the finale like at least 5 times. I've avoided anything that started with Snowfall, brought Snowfall up. My mom, usually me and my mom talk about. I told her I can't talk to you until what I'm saying Sunday. Like I can't talk to you till the end of the week because I gotta what I'm saying talk about what I'm saying talk about the whole thing on the pod. Like I've literally been keeping my thoughts and my comments to myself, and I'm trying to keep them as original as possible. So I have been avoiding any and everything Snowfall. Anytime I see it on the timeline, I don't even scroll to the next. I flick my thumb up so it could fly down. Like, bro, I'm I'm doing everything I can, man. I'm doing everything I can. It's tough. It's really tough.
Man, it has been. Unfortunately, I saw some shit because the thing is, because I wait a day after,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of really hard to avoid anything. So I saw pictures of Franklin in the last like 5 minutes of the movie.
Oh damn.
So I'm like, so I got an idea of what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's alright though, man. But it was still worth the watch. It didn't matter. It didn't necessarily ruin anything for me,
Right.
But when I seen it, it was like, okay, well, I've seen the pictures,
Yeah.
but those pictures still didn't do its justice though
I'm
for
not gonna
what
lie though.
played
I
out.
I kind of thought right when I seen what Franklin ended up looking like, I kind of thought it was like on some dream shit. So that's what kind of made me
Hmm.
nervous. But
Hmm.
as I kept watching it, I realized like, yeah, nah, it's not a dream, nigga. This is the way it's gonna be. But
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it though. I'm really
I'm
not
not
mad at
either.
it
I'm not either. I'm not either. Like, but we'll get definitely in depth with it.
for sure.
After we do the things we need to do. But like, yeah, definitely, man. It's just been because we did have like a little similar, not similar, but a little small conversation as far as like, which I'll bring it up on the pod when we get there, of
Hmm.
shows telling you like this is the last season and actually seeing the season finale. So I get
Absolutely.
into that in depth a little later in the pod. I'm gonna let y'all know right now this pod might go long.
Oh,
I ain't no
it's
mic.
gonna go.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna go.
it's gonna go.
It's
So yeah,
definitely gonna
definitely.
go. So before we do everything, man, real quick, our favorite segment, you guys, if you listen to this, you already know. If you're new to this, it's called What We Watching, where we give you a little taste of, what I'm saying, what we like to pay attention to and binge on outside of what we give you. So let's get into the what we watching.
Let's do it.
All right, bro. So what you got?
All right, man. So I actually finished it. I think it was 8 episodes. It's a Hulu show that dropped, if I'm not mistaken, like 2 weeks ago, and I've already finished it. It's a show that got the great Catherine Hahn in it. You know what I'm saying? She's been on a roll as of late,
Mm-hmm.
and this is a show that she's also a producer of. But it is a show called Tiny Beautiful Things,
Okay.
and oh man, how do I put this in a nutshell? Like basically her life is just basically in shambles, right?
Right.
It starts off, her and her husband are on the outs. Like like the husband, like pretty much put her out the house because she gave her brother 15 grand of their child's college fund.
Oh wow.
So they go into therapy and shit, and like he's just like, yo, you can't just give away, even though it's your brother, you can't just give away $15,000 without
Mm-hmm.
consulting with me. And so she didn't have anywhere to go. She told him that she was crashing on her friend's couch, but she really wasn't. She was
Mm.
sneaking into her job. She worked at like a nursing home, but she worked as like in a management position. So she was like sleeping in like patients' rooms and shit. But
That's crazy.
but the thing is, like the whole show is going back and forth from when she was like late teenage, early 20s. It's
Mm-hmm.
going back and forth, and she's about to be 50, so she's 49. So it's going back and forth, and it's explaining you why things are the way they are. And basically, a traumatic thing happened to her. Her dad and her brother's dad was a drunk who basically left them with their mom, and their mom was everything to them, and she got cancer, stage 4 cancer, and died.
Okay.
So with her mom getting that cancer the way she did, and the other events that was going on during that time, like she took that shit hard, like extremely hard, and that's explained like a lot of why her life was in shambles. Like, dude, like everything that you could think of, like that could go bad for her, was like going bad. So it's one of those type shows. I found it honestly, like I found it kind of that it's definitely like an emotional roller coaster type of show. Like if you really get in depth with shows, like there are scenes that's like, you know what I'm saying, that I really, really felt. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that Catherine Hahn has been, as far as things that I've been watching, has been on the run. Like I told you about this one HBO show she did called Mrs. Fletcher.
Mm-hmm.
She was in WandaVision, and she's supposed to be getting her own thing. Her name was Agatha, right?
Yeah.
Is that what her name? Yeah, she's supposed to get her own show. You know what I'm saying? In the Marvel universe,
Yeah, she
playing a
is.
character. Yeah.
Yep.
So like she's been on the run, dude. She has really, really been on the run. But this show, I will tell you this, is very, very dysfunctional. If you like watching a lot of dysfunctional shit, this
Mm-hmm.
is a show for you. It's dysfunctional, but at the same time, it could be emotional, and it's a fucking train wreck.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I'm saying? I think they did a pretty good job with the show. So check out Tiny Beautiful Things. It's a Hulu original. So that's why I already completed. I think it was 8 episodes, but that's what we watching is.
That's what's up, man. Okay, so my what we watching is it's nothing new. I just did pretty much like a slight rewatch. I was on HBO Max, you know what I'm saying, scrolling through something to watch, and I ended up watching Taken 3, um, starring Liam Neeson. And if I really don't need to go into detail of what it's about. You know what I'm saying? At this point, if you haven't seen Taken 3, then I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's been out for I don't know how long. Pretty much some niggas did something. He's an ex-CIA agent. He kills everybody and he saves the day. That's the synopsis. But I will say this. He's a trash action hero. This nigga killed a bunch of people to save one person. I mean, he killed a lot of goddamn people. I mean, intentionally and unintentionally. Okay, this nigga, this nigga killed people on a highway. This nigga killed people in a building. This nigga killed people in a parking structure potentially, and this nigga possibly killed 2 pilots just to save his fucking pregnant daughter. Okay, this is some bullshit. And his friend, who was also serving with him a long time ago, may have died. We never found out. All I'm saying is, Liam Neeson, in this movie, you were a piece of shit. That's all I gotta say, man. I just wanted to get that off my chest because as I was watching, I was just sitting there looking, bro. I said, you know what? Liam Neeson ain't shit.
Listen, man.
In real life too, because he said he also. I get why the Taken movies was made, because these were inspired by real, true life Liam Neeson events, because something happened to a friend of Liam Neeson's, and he said that he basically went around with some type of a club-like object and went around and looked for a N-word to beat the shit out of. And you know what? This is basically what he did in all the Taken movies. He looked for not an N-word, but just somebody to beat the shit out of because he was protecting somebody he loved. I don't fuck with Liam Neeson no more, man. He was Qui-Gon Jinn in Star Wars, but now that I found out nigga racist, fuck Liam Neeson.
Man, listen, 2 things. Number one, there's technically 3 Taken movies, right? But they're really like 6. Like that non-stop shit is the same fucking shit.
Oh no, all Liam Neeson movies except Star Wars is the same.
All of them are the fucking same. Well, all of them are the same.
Because I'm tripping. Wasn't he in like a he wasn't in Lord of the Rings. That was Star Wars. It's Qui-Gon Jinn. Oh yeah, you're right. All of his shit.
Well, I think you're thinking of Dark Knight because he was.
There you go. He was Ray Shah.
Yeah.
He also killed niggas in that movie. All I'm saying is this, man. Liam Neeson's characters ain't shit. Qui-Gon Jinn, he deserved to die, bro. After now I've seen Taken and everything else this nigga has been in. Qui-Gon Jinn deserved to be cut in half and stuffed down that fucking big ass hole when Darth Maul sliced his ass in half with the double saber, man. I don't feel bad no more. Fuck the Jedi, dark side till we die, bro. Sith Lords for life. That's all I'm saying. But I watched Taken 3. It's on HBO Max. If you guys get a chance, watch that movie and just keep account of how many bodies this nigga catch unintentionally, and you'll be like, this nigga ain't shit.
No, I'm gonna tell you what he really ain't shit at, right? So they play this clip all the time on the Dan Le Batard show, right? So this is when we were in the whole midst of like women empowerment, women not being paid, you know what I'm saying, the same amount of money as men and all this type of shit, right? So he's being interviewed by this woman. So he's like, and you know how he talked, he was like, oh, you know, it's disfortunate. We need to do something about this.
That deep voice is also cap.
Yeah, he said women deserve to get paid, you know, what we get paid and other types of right. So the girl is like, so you think women should get equal pay as men? He was like, yeah, definitely. And she was like, well, are you willing to take a pay cut so they can get paid? He was like, no, listen. He said, oh, no. He was like, not that far.
Yeah, see, Liam Neeson, you are a piece of shit. It was right. It was right that Donald Glover put that nigga in that Atlanta episode, man.
Yo, you want to talk about comedy? Like for him to be dead serious, to be like, look, women need to get paid the exact same we get paid. And that girl said, so you willing to take a pay cut? He's like, oh, no. He said, not that far.
He's a piece of shit, man. I can't believe that bullshit.
Oh, man.
If I see Liam Neeson, you better hope I don't go on a TMZ tour. If I see Liam Neeson, I'll beat the shit out of Liam Neeson.
Hey, you gonna be like, hey, you remember in Low Down Dirty Shame when Jada Pinkett had rolled up on the soap opera dude, and she started going off on him.
Yeah,
he's like, man, it's a show.
Yeah, no, fuck that. Fuck that. You killed all those goddamn people in Taken 3, man. Them pilots ain't deserve that shit.
That's hilarious.
This nigga killed some Russian spies this nigga beat these niggas up in a liquor store, bro. Ruined that lady whole goddamn job Because now she got to answer to her boss as to why all this goddamn liquor bottles done dropped and all this inventory is fucked up because these niggas want to have a fucking shootout in a fucking bar brawl in the middle of the fucking liquor store. He could have waited till they got outside to get to the truck. But no, he said, I'm going to go in there and start some shit. Fuck Liam Neeson.
Man, the whole moral of the story is your daughter and your ex-wife, I got kidnapped 3 separate times. But you got a set of skills.
The first time it was his daughter. The second time it was his ex-wife. The third time his ex-wife died because her husband set her up and set him up as well. So he also killed his ex-wife's husband, who also found a way to kill his ex-wife. So basically he killed his ex-wife and his husband, because if it wasn't for him, his ex-wife would have never died, technically.
Man. All right.
Liam Neeson, you know what I'm saying? I have a special set of skills, and I'll find you. Just know that, my nigga. So
that's funny.
Listen, man. It is a exciting episode, but it's also a somber episode. Today we are, I guess, putting to rest one of possibly the greatest TV shows to ever grace television screens. Started by the great John Singleton, may he rest in peace. Snowfall.
Yes.
The season finale. This is, you know, we knew it was here. We knew it was coming. It's finally here. So first reaction watching the episode. Don't tell anything about the episode yet. Just your first reaction after seeing it. How did you feel?
Well, the first thing I thought of, something that I brought up very early in the podcast, was my reaction was, you know, initially it was sadness, but at the same time it was excitement. It was a lot of different mixed emotions because I felt like they did a phenomenal job with closing the show out. But then it's also the situation of there's never going to be any new material as far as Snowfall. My second reaction was it made me think of other shows who going into the final season knowing it's their last season.
Yeah.
You know, it made me think of The Sopranos and how it ended. Me personally, I didn't like how they left it up in the air. We talked about this before on here.
Yep.
You know, we don't really know what happened to the Soprano family. Then it made me think of Ray Donovan, which, you know, they used a movie to close the show out, and I thought they did a phenomenal job with that as well. It made me think of Shameless. You know, they knew it was the final season going into Shameless. I was kind of disappointed with a little bit of how they finished it, only because the fact of they never brought Fiona back. I don't know if there was a contractual thing, or maybe she just wasn't fucking with him. But I do know that in real life she ended up having a baby, so it could have been around that same time, and maybe that's why she didn't do it.
Yeah.
But I was a little disappointed with that. And the other show it made me think of was Animal Kingdom. Out of all of those, you know what I'm saying, Snowfall is right up there. Like right up there with me as far, you know how big of a fan of Ray Donovan I was. It's right up there, neck and neck with Ray Donovan. But it was, like I said, it was mixed emotions, man. Now I do think that this is a show that, you know, in a couple of years I'm gonna revisit and just, you know, just binge it again like I did The Sopranos. I just went back and just rewatched all of that stuff over again. Another, like, because I don't think there's that much great TV to the point where you can go back and rewatch. Like, I haven't done that with many shows. I've only done it with The Sopranos, Luther, and Ray Donovan. I haven't done it with any other shows where I went back and rewatched them. But I it was mixed emotions, man. How about you, man? Because I'm still fucking feeling the shit now, man.
Yeah.
What was your reactions when after you seen it?
Um. So first things first, I have two words to describe the whole thing, and that is poetic justice.
Okay.
Um. And then last but not least, it was. I mean, I said it earlier, man. It was somber, man. It was one of those things where you see you're literally watching art being created in front of you and put together in front of you, and then you know that once this is over with, this is it. You'll never see it again. You'll never be able to see anything new created from this artist. And so it was sad, man. We've done a couple, maybe three Snowfall casts,
Mm-hmm.
and each time, even though, what I'm saying, some seasons may not have been better than the others, it always seemed as if when we do these, like, these are like some of the most fun episodes we do. And knowing that this is it, like, I don't even know I don't even know what to supplement this with. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like, this to me, like I said, and I don't know if I put it on the Viewers Anonymous Twitter or I put it on my Twitter, but like I said, man, this may have been the greatest ending to a TV show I've ever seen.
I'm with you. It's definitely up there for me.
Absolutely.
Just how they was able to. I mean, dude, they closed out a story that I think we last seen was season 4. So that's one thing that I when you're watching a show and an event happened and it just like they just leave that story. I feel like if you're going into a season finale, it's just like yo, and you know it's the final season, you have to put that dot on that I. And for them to finally give us the satisfaction of putting a dot over the I on the Peaches story. And I think that the genius of waiting up until this point for what they tied it into, I think that was genius. I think that that's something that was very important to put in there and very important to wait to this moment. Because the thing about putting together a great show is having a storyline, closing the book on the storyline, but not maybe not closing the book on the storyline, but putting a period on the storyline and
Right.
then coming back to that shit. I mean, like, dude, yeah, it was season 4.
Mm-hmm.
Peaches stole that money in season 4, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And to wait to this point to finally like this was the perfect opportunity to fucking end that shit because of the money situations that Franklin was going through.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time when his dude was quitting on him to be like, all right, look, I'm not looking for Veronique no more, but I still got something for you.
Yeah.
Something that you probably now fucking forgot about.
In that moment, for sure.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure like when he was like, man, what the fuck is in this damn envelope? You gonna tell me you gonna stop looking for, you know what I'm saying, my baby moms who stole $800,000 from me and you giving me this fucking vanilla envelope, and then he saw that it was peaches. That shit probably gave him a whole totally new life. Like he was just like, oh shit, like this just gave me, you know what I'm saying, some more energy to keep going. To add it to wait to this point, dude, that was fucking genius. Like all of the genius shit that they did in this episode, that's something that may have been slept on to others, but it was so necessary for people who are really in depth involved in the show. I thought that was one of the most genius things that they put in there. There are some other things that we'll get to, but
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that, man, to me, I think that's why I'm starting to like shows a little bit more than movies now, because to be able to continue a story the way that they have, that was, I don't know, man. I felt like this show is, yeah, it's definitely one of the top five shows of all time, top three shows of all time, maybe top five. We'll see how I feel.
See, to me, I feel like this was a perfect way to basically end it all because they literally put a bow tie on everything. You know what I'm saying? From we didn't have to worry about what Louis was going through. We didn't have to worry about what Sissy was going through. Leon was going through. We didn't have to worry about what Franklin and Veronique was going through. Bless me.
Bless you.
Thank you. We didn't have to worry about what Wanda was going through.
Hmm.
I mean, they the to cap the Peaches situation. I mean, just they literally went back and bless me again.
Bless you.
Thank you. They they literally went back and tied every loose end.
Hmm.
No stone was left unturned in this. And to your point of going back and dealing with Peaches, you know what I'm saying, with the situation that he had, and even as you watching it, you getting your hopes up because you was like, damn, he finally found Peaches. He could finally get the money. Like, bro, he got it. He good. And then, bro, all it was $12,000, bro. You know what I'm saying? Out of 5 million,
Five
$12,000.
million.
And you just, as you watching it, you just slowly seeing them break down more and more and more and more. And it's just like at the end of it all, you finally see like, yo, and that's why I said poetic justice, because it's like the one thing that technically he created is what he ended up becoming in the end. And if you've ever grown up in the hood, if you ever grown up in the early 90s, um, late 80s or mid to late 80s, you've seen that guy who was the man later on
Yep.
in life become the same thing he created. And so to me, I feel like not only was this a great homage to John Singleton, but it was also just, you know what I'm saying, a perfect representation of how well the writers in that writers room had did. Also, big shout out to Amin Joseph, because for him to direct this season, this particular season has been, I mean, on fire. To me, this may be the best season next to, or this may be the second best season next to the first season. You know what I'm saying? Like, because nothing ever beats the first season. I mean, if you have a season that beats the first season, then usually it's a weak show. So to me, this may be the second best season in this whole series. Just the fact that he was able to put this together and make it as beautiful and amazing as it has been. I mean, goodness gracious, bro. Like from beginning to end, it's, to me, I feel like later on down the line, when people go back and watch this, like how, you know what I'm saying, they do The Wire and everything else, when they get to this season, this is going to be one of those seasons where you don't put no pause breaks on. You don't get up and go get, like, you getting everything ahead of time. You going to pee before it all start, all that. You getting everything out the way just so you can watch this all the way through. And the only way to watch this is all the way through. And I feel like that's what they kind of had in mind as they were filming this, because it's like everything is just like on point. And I mean, kudos to the cast, excuse me, the cast, everything, like everything about this season, bro, just culminated into into perfection. I don't even know how else to describe it. This was TV perfection to me. I've never been so invested um in a show, let alone the season of a show, than this. I mean, everything was amazing in this shit. There was not one episode to where I watched it and was like, "What the fuck is going on?" Everything was just like on point, in line.
Nice.
But thank you. But it was god damn, it was just great.
Yeah, and I just want to point out, Amon Joseph only directed episode 8. So he only directed one episode.
Well,
I think that was the one that
he was also an executive producer too.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
he EP'd it too. So this was his season to pretty much like take everything where it had to go.
true. Like another thing that stood out to me was the fact of how they was able to have a okay, so for if you've been watching the show, something that we noticed. All right, I'm not talking to you, Siri.
Uh-oh.
Um, something that we noticed about Franklin, and this I'm gonna tie this into Alton as well. But Franklin was a person who never smoked, never drank. As a matter of fact, I don't even think he even drank sodas. Like when he used to meet like people at the diner, he would get like water or milk or some shit.
Right.
So for us to see Franklin take one sip of whiskey and completely turn into an alcoholic, I feel like that's a trait that he kind of got from Alton as far as addiction. Like Alton was addicted to drugs,
And
and he
drinking.
ended up yeah, and he ended up becoming an alcoholic to the point where he completely fell off the wagon. So it's just like I think to put that into the show, maybe it didn't mean nothing at the time, but to see just one episode, just one episode out of 6 seasons, for them to set that up the way that they did, that's if you really paid attention to it. Because it's like he would make little gestures of like why he didn't like drink soda or whatever. It was never made to be important until now. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I mean by genius writing, by showing us how much not of a health freak, but just more of like he took care of his body by not putting bad things into his body. And for them to hold all of that off until 6 seasons, the very last episode of the show, to say like, damn, all it took us this long. You know what I'm saying? Really basically 60 episodes to be like one sip of whiskey and he completely falls off the wagon and turn into an alcoholic. I think that's great writing, man. Like I don't know if you noticed that or not, but that's insane writing, directing, all of that stuff. To
Okay. But does he really fall off the wagon though?
I mean, he's homeless. I mean, he's living in a house with no electricity, and like the thing is, like, okay, Franklin, he made some very bad decisions after the first time he had a drink. Like the whole thing of, I think his biggest problem was the whole term of go big or go home. I think that's what fucked him up, and this is why. When Veronique hit up Mr. Davis,
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a very smart thing to do. I think that he should have sold that spring. I think it was called Springfield. That Springfield or Spring Hill situation or whatever. Kept all of his smaller properties and just lived and ate off of that. Like when you own properties and people are paying you rent, that's a steady fucking paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
That's free money, dude. That's free money every month. That's only going to increase every year because the cost of living go up every year that we know. So people that are paying you $500 in rent in 1986, by the time you get to 1987, that shit could possibly be $600, $700. And if you divide that shit by, I don't know, 20 properties, you ain't got to work nowhere, dude. You ain't got to do shit. The fact that he tried to go big and go home and sell all of those smaller properties to bank on one thing downtown, and then because of how you treated V, because she quote unquote went behind your back and you grabbed her by her throat the way that you did, and she took the 800K that you had, can you fucking blame her?
Okay, so before we get into that, right? So this is I'm glad you bringing this up because this was something that I kind of thought as I was watching it the third time. Excuse me. So the one thing that we've always known about Franklin, right, is that he thinks 3 or 4 steps ahead. He's always ahead of the game. He's a smart individual, intelligent individual. This is what he does. But the one thing that we've never seen Franklin do in this show is fail. And by fail, I don't mean like he come up with a plan that don't work and then, you know what I'm saying, it's on to the next. No, I mean like literally fail to where nothing is happening. And remember at the beginning of the season when we was doing this, like I think episodes 1 through 3, I was saying that we're going to see a breakdown. We're going to see a mental breakdown of Jerome. What I didn't see was we were also going to see a mental breakdown of Franklin. And if you watch this episode, you'll see that very thing, right? Like, so Franklin this whole time is trying to hold on to the main property because that's his plan. That's the thing that he cares about the most. That's the thing that's going to get him to where it has to be. That's his goal. And what we end up seeing is basically everything around him shatter. We see everybody around him, I don't want to say give up, but everybody around him let go. And this is where he's truly on his own. And as he's on his own, we see that I don't I mean, I don't even really know how to put it. It's just like he didn't live up to his potential. Maybe that's a better way of saying it. To me, at least, he didn't live up to his potential. And because he didn't live up to his potential, we ended up seeing what he became in the end. And it felt like he was trying to hold on to this 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 thing that he had in the past, like his what maybe he considered his peak of success. And so remember in the earlier episodes when Veronique was talking to her mom and she was saying, her mom was saying like, yo, I've dealt with men like this before. Yo, he's going to basically fight for everything that he wants. And even if you get in the way, you know, you're not going to be a part of that if you get in the way. And we seen that. We finally seen what her mother was talking about. Her mother already warned her about it. And in that moment when she, you know, when everything was happening and she told him like, yo, get the fuck off of me. She felt that. Whatever her mom had told her, she felt that. And you could see it in her eyes. You could see that. And to me, this is the thing. we may have hated Veronique for no reason, or Veronique, however the fuck you say her name. We may have hated her for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, may have hated her for no reason. But because of what happened, she then went, and of course, you know, she became the one that was 5 steps ahead of Franklin. And if you pay attention to it, if you notice, everybody is a step ahead of him in this episode. He's the one
Yep.
that's left back in this episode. And that's why I keep saying poetic justice, because he's slowly becoming the thing that he created. Or he's becoming the opposite of what he created in some terms, right? So when he's talking to his mom, and he's, you know, he on the phone with his mom at the county jail, and he's like, yo, I just need you to talk to me. She's not saying anything to him because she knows where this is headed. She's already ahead of him. She could see, she has the vision of seeing. When he goes to Leon to ask for the money, and he got the opportunity to get $3 million, Leon sees, I can't give it to you. So he sees what's going to happen. Veronique, same thing. She sees what's going to happen. So she goes to get the 800K and whatever they had before that. And then everybody else around him just pretty much flaked on him. Even the what was the I'm about to say detective. What was the dude that he used to
Yeah. I don't know his name, but yeah,
yeah,
even he left him.
even him, he said it too, like, yo, like, you know, you losing it, bro. I can't keep I can't keep doing this no more. I can't keep giving up this time for you. He even seen it. And so you started to see everything crumble around him. And as everything was crumbling around him, because he felt that stress and he felt that pressure, at this point in time, you started to see him go to drinking. And once he started drinking, what you notice is that thought process that he usually has to keep himself ahead of everybody else is slowly fading away, and everything is kind of switching up, and then it all ends up basically culminating into what we see at the end. And that's why, once again, I say it's poetic justice, because we seen what basically was the top dog of the land end up turning into the poorest peasant in the land. And if you've ever grown up in the hood, if you ever, like I said, once again, in the mid to late 80s to early 90s, we all know of the one dude who basically was running around the neighborhood, who ended up, quote unquote, being the fiend, who we hear stories about of, man, this nigga used to move this and this nigga used to move that. um Personally, in my city, it was a guy named Virgil. Rest in peace, Virgil. It was a guy named Virgil who was literally one of the top dogs in Dayton, Ohio. Like literally one of the top dogs in Dayton, Ohio. The older I got, the only reason we knew Virgil before we started hearing the stories of him was he was just the bum that used to dance on the corners.
Mm-hmm.
He used to literally have a boom box, and he would dance on the corners. For those who don't know what a boom box is, it's a big ass radio. But he, you know what I'm saying, he would dance on the corners, and he would be literally like sitting on the corner dancing, listening to his music and shit. But before, you know what I'm saying, if you weren't old enough to find out who he was, and you know, you would have somebody older tell you, this dude used to move drugs all through the city. So to see Franklin like that, it made sense, because this wasn't, you know what I'm saying, this wasn't foreign to people who've been around that environment and know, you know what I'm saying, what that can bring. And even if it's, you know what I'm saying, doing drugs themselves, or like Franklin, you know what I'm saying, everything being taken from him, or just the fact that, you know what I'm saying, a nigga got beat up one time. You know what I'm saying? And he just got beat up bad enough to where he just wasn't in his right mind. This type of shit happens. You know what I'm saying? This is the culmination of everything that he's done. To me, I felt like, if anything, karma had caught up to him. And now he is basically what he created. The same way karma caught up with Teddy. You know what I'm saying? Teddy had to deal with what he created. And now, as we see in this episode, Franklin does too.
Yeah, you brought up all great points, man. Everybody was a step ahead of him, and it was sad to watch a person who let their ego
Yeah,
destroy them.
yeah.
His ego destroyed him. His ego with Veronique, quote unquote, going behind his back when she his partner. I don't think it's going behind her back because what she said was very smart. She was like, I think it's a good idea to check out our options. At least listen to the man and see what he has to say. So that's number one, to bring up the whole Leon situation, which was that was a sad scene to see because to see a person who top dog who's already asked him for 500K and to have the ego to say, all right, on top of the 5K that you gave me, give me 3 million and I can make you a partner where you should have been anyway. So if that's
Mm-hmm.
why I should have been anyway, why wasn't a partner in the fucking beginning? That's number one. You only offering me this now because you're asking me for $3 fucking million. And then you telling me, you know what I'm saying, I could get 5 to 10 times what I gave in, later on or whatever. But to have the ego to say that whole thing of beggars can't be choosers, right?
Right.
For him to say, to fix his lips to say the only reason you got this money is because of me. Dude, yeah, but you're asking me for it.
No. Remember who told
Like,
him that though?
yes.
You know
And
what I'm
that,
saying?
yeah, in that conversation, he was like, yo, why do you think Sissy did what she did? He was like, dude, she already knew what you were going to do. And
Absolutely.
I'm not going to step on her toes and give you money that she felt that you did not deserve.
Mm.
She
Okay, so real quick before you finish, this is where we disagree, but go ahead.
So I think that, like he said, she sacrificed herself to kill Teddy before giving you the money because, in my opinion, she felt that you didn't deserve to get that 37 million or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was like, I'm not gonna step on her toes and give you the money. And he was like, man, you gonna give me that money or I'm gonna take it. And then that's when the dude, you know what I'm saying,
Right place, wrong
pulled the
time.
gun out and shit. And he's like, so this is how you want to end this?
Yeah.
And he told him, no,
Right.
this is not how I want to end this. Like, frankly, I do not want to fight with you, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
not giving you the money either. So, what did you disagree with what I said?
Okay, so I don't think that she didn't allow Franklin to get that money because she felt like he didn't deserve it. I think that, and this goes back to when this even happened. I think that she didn't allow him to get that money because she knew that no matter what, he was going to be tied to that money. And if he got that money, that they were going to do everything in their power to not just hunt him down, but hunt everybody down. And remember when, you know what I'm saying, she shot Teddy, we had the episode, and I said that everybody felt like she fucked everything up. But in some people's eyes, if they felt like she did the right thing, and this is what I mean by doing, or this is what I meant by she did the right thing because she protected everybody. She sacrificed herself. She made sure that everybody was going to be okay. And because Franklin was so blinded by his ego, by his goals, by his ambitions, he couldn't see that his mom had literally did the ultimate sacrifice to make sure that not only him but his child was going to be okay. And because of that, his whole thing was trying to make sure he had the money for this particular property. So him and his girl and his baby was going to be okay. What he didn't realize was his mom already did that for him by killing Teddy. Because now everything is off of everybody else. Well, besides
Besides Louis.
yeah, besides Louis, but basically everything is off of everybody else.
True. And I think another reason why she made that sacrifice, I think number one is that she's like, yo, I'm the oldest and I have to make, like, I think she felt obligated to make that sacrifice because she's the oldest. And then also she had a a vendetta against Teddy to
Mm-hmm.
revenge her husband.
Mm-hmm.
But my biggest point is a reason why I think she did it is because she always felt guilty in getting in the drug game. She never wanted Franklin for that to be his life. And not only for that to be his life, that she ended up helping him wash the money. So I think that because that made her feel like a like when she sat down with Louis, right? And
Yeah,
she was like, yo, all of our hands are dirty.
absolutely.
And I think that she's like, yo, I got myself involved in a game that destroyed the neighborhood that I love and the people that I love. Like, I am a revolutionary that's supposed to care about the community, right? And the people that she was helping in that clinic were the same people that she had a hand in them being there by helping her son wash the money.
Mm.
So she made that sacrifice because, yes, it's also to save everybody, to take the attention off of everybody, but also that guilt that she had. Like, I felt that that was the only way that she could live with herself is to make that one last sacrifice. If I can't listen, I helped destroy the neighborhood, but if I can help save my son's life, my grandson's life, Leon's life, Wanda's life, I'm going to do what's necessary as the oldest person, the most mature person. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to take that sacrifice. So even though at the moment we kind of felt like she was the villain, she really turned out to be the hero. And while it's on my mind, you brought up a point about being wrong about Veronique. I want to admit I was wrong. I thought there was something fishy about this girl. And come to find out, she was literally his ride or die, and he fucked it up.
Absolutely,
She was,
yeah. And
she,
in the
yeah.
end, yeah, I think we all was wrong about that. But um to your point, I feel like it wasn't the Alton thing that got her.
Hmm.
Knowing the background of who Sissy was and who Sissy was involved with and everything else, and even Franklin that said it, and they made it prominent throughout this whole series was the fact that this nigga was a child of a I'm saying, a child of the Panthers. Um, and the funny thing is that as we watching this, when the commercials pop up, the Tupac doc pop up with him and the Afeni Shakur, right?
Hmm.
And so we see this correlation between Franklin and the drug dealers of the 80s, early 90s, but we also, in a weird way, kind of see this correlation between Franklin and Tupac. Tupac was a rapper who
Uh-huh.
was into, what I'm saying, the arts and theater and everything else, who ended up becoming this symbolic figure. And even though Tupac died, I feel like Franklin was this kid who was into education and everything else who ended up becoming this symbolic figure. But I feel like Franklin's death was what we seen at the end. His death wasn't literal, his death was figurative
Hmm.
or metaphorical. And so not only did John Singleton have the brilliant mind to be able to take stories from the 80s and the early 90s and take certain people and create these characters, but he also was able to do the same thing with Tupac. And like, if you think about this, her thing was never to, and this is why I can't wait to watch this Tupac doc either, because I want to hear what, you know what I'm saying, these connections with, because I feel like Afeni is kind of similar to Sissy as well, right? And so like her thing wasn't the fact that, you know what I'm saying, Alton got killed. It was just the fact that because of her background being with the Panthers and knowing that what the, you know what I'm saying, the government has done to the Panthers, and then knowing that, you know what I'm saying, that the CIA, she literally had proof that the CIA and the US government was bringing in drugs to demolish the black, you know what I'm saying, the black community and everything else. And she literally had proof of this. Like, she was a part of it. Like, she's literally a witness to all of this shit. Mm-hmm. Like the purest witness at this point. The fact that she was able to speak on all of this, and even in the courtroom when she said, "Yeah, I killed a CIA officer who brought drugs into the black community and flooded them with it and destroyed the black community," and even in the courtroom when she said that nobody paid attention, that was her, you know what I'm saying? To me, I feel like this was her way of getting one for the team. You know what I'm saying? Like, if if government was 52-0 after Sissy got done, they was 52-1. You know what I'm saying? Because she finally got a hold to one of them who was doing the same shit that they've been doing for years at this point. And I think that was her main goal. That was her main focus was, yo, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than my family. It's bigger than my son. It's bigger than everybody around me. It's the community at this point. And because I can't do anything to stop this, what I will do is stop the person who's responsible for bringing this shit here. And she got rid of him. And that's it.
True. And she stuck to her word. When she told Franklin after she shot Teddy, when she told him goodbye, she meant that shit.
Yeah. Well, shit, Franklin, before that, remember, she told him, look, I'm going to go with you on this last one. And after this, it's over.
We're done. Yeah. And he went to go see her the first time. She didn't have a fucking word to say to him. Then another thing that I thought that was interesting in the writing room was Sissy's temperament when Franklin came. She didn't say nothing, only facial expressions. She just hung the phone up, walked off. Leon comes to see her. She's telling jokes. Yo, blue never been my color. You know what I mean? Stop looking at me like that with disappointment. And he's telling her he's trying to do, you know what I'm saying, handle the clinic and do things to help her. And she was like, yo, do one thing for me. Follow your wife.
Right.
Like, don't worry about me. Go with your wife. I did this so you and your wife can have a life together, basically. And then for Franklin to come back and try, like, the thing with Franklin is everything starts off. Franklin's like Stephen A. Smith.
Talk to me. What?
Yo, so you know how Stephen A. Smith he'd be like, no, Kevin Durant. I know him dearly. I know his mother. We've had conversations. I love them dearly. But you mean to tell me, like, Franklin starts off
that Kevin Durant could have did. He could have came down and hit a 3-point jumper to win the game, but he passed the ball off to Chris Paul.
Hey, Franklin starts off, hey, mama. You know, all the little soft shit, and he's like, well, you know, Veronique, she left me. She cleaned out my account. You know, the only thing we got left is the house. And, you know, I can't sell the house unless I get your signature. So if you sign over the house to me, I can sell it and I can keep the thing. And then she don't say nothing. You the one that fucking did this shit.
Hey, same thing he did with Leon.
Same thing. It's like he starts off light, and then when he don't get his way, he fucking blacks out on people.
Guess who else
And
would do that?
who?
Teddy.
In a different way though.
Absolutely, but
Yeah.
same, it's the same thing, different paths.
Yes.
Same route, different paths.
Exactly. Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying. Teddy, yes, he would do that. So yeah, I mean he turned into a version of Teddy. Like what he did to that guy when he opened up that safe to give that man the hope. That man's like, yo, I got 3 kids.
Bro, it was unnecessary, bro.
You know what I'm saying? And he's like, yo, because I'm thinking at the time, okay, 12,000 can buy you a little bit. But when he was just like, take it, I'm like, okay, that's a smart move. You got 2 bodies in here. And
Mm-hmm.
now we know that that safe was never yours. So I'm thinking, okay, yeah, you take the 12K. You know, you seen me put 2 people down, and I asked you what your full name is. Take the 12K, and you never speak of this shit ever again. But to kill him anyway,
Mm-hmm.
that was just like it was a tough scene to watch because wrong place, wrong time, man.
Absolutely.
Like that man did not deserve what happened to him, and because Franklin didn't get his way, he took his life. That's some shit that Teddy would have done. You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
like you're right. Like there is a parallel between Franklin and Teddy, and he turned into a version of Teddy.
No, he
So
turned into Teddy. Remember what Teddy's dad said? Yo, the intensity in that kid's eyes reminds me of my son.
yeah,
That I mean, like, and once again, bro, this is just kudos to the writing team. Like the fact that this whole show, or I'm sorry, not this whole show, but this whole season, bro, they've been dropping hints this whole season, and even going back and thinking about certain things throughout the season, like they've been telling us up until this point what was going to happen. And I mean, like I said, the way that they put a bow tie on this was perfect.
they did. And the smaller bow ties, really quick stuff, but it
Mm-hmm.
spoke volumes. You
Mm-hmm.
know, Gustavo's teaching wrestling. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Something
Right.
how we was even introduced to him as also,
Mm-hmm.
and for 5 years to go by to still be checking those
After Franklin
messages.
told him start the wrestling career again.
Yep,
You know what I'm
this is
saying?
true. And he
Yeah.
told him I'm too old, but he was like, "Yo, there's something else you can do."
Come on, man.
And he turned into a teacher and teaching these
Perfection.
kids. Yes,
Perfect.
that is perfection. And for him to still check those messages and for 5 years to go by and that girl to say, yo, I don't know if he's still checking,
Mm-hmm.
but I just wanted to tell you that, I found a nice little spot in North Carolina. Me and the mom good, the boys good.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just like, yo, look, I miss you and the boys miss you, and we would love to see you. So I think that she really wanted to wait till the smoke clears, even though she said her mom would kill her for calling him.
Hey
But
man, when you got somebody that good in your life, fuck all that bullshit. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Fuck all that
that
bullshit.
and for them to put the little tie, the bow tie on Louis, for her to be on the run, what I'm saying? The DEA track her down to this farm, and the farm people rode for her, man.
They held her down.
They held her down,
Now, quick
and
question I got for you, right? Because
okay.
this is what I definitely wanted to get into. Because you did the 28 minutes or less on Jamaica Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
Does that story at the end of this episode, well, in this episode, did that kind of correlate with Louis' story as far as like Jamaica Thompson being on the run and all the other stuff?
Well, with Jamaica being on the run, like the way she was on the run was she was making like smaller drug deals with people in
Mm-hmm.
different cities and shit like that. But
Mm-hmm.
she would sneak back home to like spend time with her son and shit
Right.
like that. Um, I don't think that there's too much of a correlation because like even the way that Jamaica got caught, like you know what I'm saying, she went back to try to go in disguise to her son's sixth grade graduation. Like,
So she ended up getting caught.
yeah, Jamaica Thompson got caught. Yeah, she tried to go into the well. Okay, so when they went into her hair shop, they didn't find anything illegal in there,
Right.
but they saw an award that her son had got in school. So they figured out what school her son went to. So they started looking up shit. They're like, yo, there's the sixth grade graduation that's coming up. They was like, I guarantee you she's gonna fucking come.
Right.
And so she tried to go in disguise, and they was disguised as, you know what I'm saying, people doing the lawn and all types of little shit like that. And when she sat down, her agent sat beside her and was like, yo, we know it's you. Don't make a scene. So they arrested her after the graduation was over.
So okay, so she was so basically she was just inspiration. She wasn't literally like the story for it. Because like the one thing about this show that we've heard over and over again is like this is the story of Rick Ross. And so seeing how this is ended, we know that this ain't Rick Ross. This ain't Freeway Ricky Ross.
Yes. But
now it may have been inspired by it, but we know like this ain't his complete story. You know what I'm saying?
Well, okay. The one thing with Ricky Ross is the fact of, for some odd reason, he felt like he was the only person that worked directly with the CIA. I think that's why he said that story was about him. Well, so that's number one.
Yeah, real quick though, I think that I agree with you, but I'm saying like just the fact that like how he basically claimed that because he did work with the CIA, blah blah blah, like this was his, and then but then to see how they ended it, we know that Freeway Ricky Ross didn't, you know what I'm saying, end up as a junkie. He went to jail for a little bit and then came out and he
then
is
went
who
back.
he is now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We know who he is now, and we know that he wasn't doing drugs, he was locked up.
True. Now there is a correlation with Jamaica Thompson. That correlation is Jamaica Thompson dated a drug dealer in high school, who sold weed. Jerome sold weed.
Right.
And so, but the difference is, which kind of correlates, but they just did it in a different way. Dude, like she started selling cocaine, and he told her, "Yo, I don't want to." He was like, "I don't want to fuck with cocaine because cocaine to get you locked up." But he ended up marrying her, which was stupid. Because I'm like, what makes you think that if she get caught up in some shit, there was no queen pins in the 80s? They're gonna automatically assume that that's your shit.
I feel you, man. She bringing all that money in, and I'd marry her too. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, but like, I understand that. It just, dude. Even on the podcast, I was like, yo,
yeah,
like they're gonna automatically assume that you are the one that's in charge. They're gonna think that you know what I'm saying, that the cocaine is yours. Like, ain't no way that this girl is moving cocaine like this.
Right.
Like, it gotta be you. But for her to be dating a weed dealer, and then she's dating a weed dealer, and then Franklin goes down, and then she takes over for a while. You know what I'm saying? And then Franklin takes back over, and then she oversteps Franklin and goes straight to the connect, which is Teddy. So there are correlations to Jamaica Thompson, definitely. But I think that it was for Louis to have been there as long as she. Well, the thing is, we don't know exactly how long she's been with those people, but obviously she had an effect on them people.
Well, so they said it. I think they said it. That's the one that was 2 years later.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe that's the one that said.
We know she was on the run for at least 2 years.
Yeah.
But real quick, listen, if y'all want to know more about not only just Louis, but want to know more about Jamaica Thompson, make sure y'all go check out S.Dot's podcast, 28 minutes or less, where y'all can hear the whole story of Jamaica Thompson, what she went through, how she got to where she was, and everything else. Make sure y'all go check that out. Go ahead though, bro.
Appreciate that.
You already know.
But yeah, I just thought that it was interesting to see them do that, and I think that they really felt for her, and I think that they saw that she really had a love for horses, and I think that Louis just was really doing a good job. So they, you know what I'm saying, they looked out for her and said that, like, yeah, she's been here, but you know what I'm saying, she fucking left. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was dope because that bought her some more time. So just for them to put a button on that story, that was good as well. The whole thing with, which I thought was a really good scene, when Leon, well, it started out with Wanda, and she's like, "Yo, do you think Franklin gonna come for you?" And he was like, "Yo, I doubt it with with the protection that I have." And she's like, "Yo, like I made my decision. I got enough money to get a one-way ticket to Ghana." And then he goes, hell, I don't know, 500,000. I don't know what he put down, but you know, she's like, also 3 million. So
3 million, it was 1.5.
So 1.5, and she's like, I don't want your money. And he was like, look, you're my wife, so half of what's mine is yours. And she was like, but you're not even gonna talk me out of not going. And like, to end it right there, you know what I'm saying? I thought that was powerful as well, because I think that when she left, I think that she was like, yo, like, this is, our relationship is over. You know what I'm saying? And it took for Sissy. Well, not that it was over, but the fact of, like, she's like, yo, I'm going to start a life in. Well, see, the thing is, they end it right there. Leon don't give an answer.
Yeah, I'm about to say this was not a bad way to stop a relationship or to end a relationship. This was a great way, at least to me, because you know what I'm saying, what we do. This is a great way to start a new show, knowing that we getting a Wanda spinoff. This is amazing. We about to see everything that Wanda did in Ghana. We about to see Leon come to Ghana. We about to see all that good shit that they did and everything else, and whatever we're curious about, we are about to see it because of that particular scene. And that is, once again, it's a kudos to the writing room for even putting that scene in there, because now we have to find out what the fuck Wanda going to do. We got to find out what she's doing. We got to, because she had 1.5 million on her way to Ghana. She done already bought a ticket. She done already did everything she needed to do. But now she got a free 1.5 million to do some shit. Come on, man. We got to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, that was definitely smart. So all right, so let's get into the shits real quick. We covered everybody. So 1 year goes by, we see Leon walking down the street, you know what I'm saying? Now we're talking about the 90s now, you know what I'm saying? Early 90s. 91 to be exact. Absolutely. Well, probably 90 because the movie came out in 91, but I get there.
But what movie are we talking about?
Well, what movie we talking about is Boys in the Hood. They show a little mirage of them getting ready to film. And then Frank was like, oh man, this movie ain't gonna be shit, you know, like trying to be funny. And you see a guy that's sitting in the director's chair that we all know is supposed to be John Singleton. So shout out to all the writers for doing that. That was a great little mirage that they did for him. So Leon is walking, and these little, you know what I'm saying, little dudes, you know what I'm saying? It's the 90s now. Now you got a bunch of just, and this is what people have to understand. Like, see, I'm really into this drug shit, right? At this point, when you're talking early 90s, a lot of the OGs at this point were locked up. So now you got a lot of young dudes with huge egos that have no, what do you call it? Like they have no discipline. Because what happens in the drug game is, like, if you're talking California, you know, Freeway Ricky Ross, Felix the Cat Mitchell, you know what I'm saying? Like, the way that they ran that, Tookie Williams, the way that they ran things, like, shit was organized. And then once you start locking up those top figures and leaving foot soldiers, they just out here wilding. So these kids walk up to Leon like, yo, like, what set you claim? He was like, yo, man, look, I'm from the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? I just come to visit a friend. He was like, do anybody live here? They were like, if you call that living. So he's banging on the door. Franklin's drunk as fuck, middle of the day. See that it's Leon, let Leon know. So he's, bigging him up on how nice his clothes is. He was like, yo, man, like, come on. He's like, I know you don't want to stay in this shithole. So they walk out the back door and they just walking down the street. And I was like, I wonder why Franklin got him walking down the street. Forget about the lady that was taking the shit back there, but we don't care about that. So
right.
anyway,
But and disregard the 4 times damn near that Leon said, "Hey man, where we going?"
yeah, you know what I'm saying? And he's just walking.
Yeah.
So, and then the whole boys in the hood scene that they threw in there, and then all of a sudden they walk up to the store. It's basically like a liquor store, and he's like, "Yo, think you can let me get 10?" And the look on Leon's face, he looks at the store and he looks at him, and he's just like, after he just said, "Yo, I got a job opportunity for you." And the only thing Franklin could think of is like, yo, let me get 10 so I can run into the liquor store. And he gave him 20. He's like, oh shit, 20? Like, you want something? I know you. I'm hoping you don't want anything, but do you want something? So he goes and he's giving him a bottle and he's drinking and talking. And he's like, when he gets back to the house, because the thing about it is 5 years, well, really 6 years has gone by at this point. And Franklin, they showed a scene earlier where Franklin is on the phone arguing with the people about paying the property taxes on the house.
Yep.
And so there's eviction notices, all types of shit on the door for unpaid taxes. And so when they're walking back to the house, the police are getting ready to, they got the ram, they're about to knock down the door. And he looks at Leon, he's like, yeah, like I got nothing now. He was like, they just, took my place or whatever. And what got me, I think what was the most emotional part of this series, I would say the series, episode in the series is when he looks at Leon and he's like, yo, man, you my best friend. And I'm proud of you. And like, both of them, the tears that was coming down their face, dude, like, I'm fucking tearing up. Like, yo, like,
man, I think America was at that point, bro. God
man, damn. I'm like, yo, man, because I think that was the moment where Franklin realized that he hit rock bottom and he deserves to be there.
I don't think so.
Why you say that?
Because if you listen to what he said, bro, he told him, he said, bro, I'm free. The chains is off me. And I think that, a lot of times we hear, like, if you ever came up in the mid 80s to late 80s, early 90s, we all grew up with crackheads and drunks that was around us. And they always said shit to us as young kids that never made sense until we grew up. And I feel like when he told Leon that, his whole thing was like, bro, I'm free. Remember when they was walking, he was like, yo, I called the CIA and I told them, if y'all keep fucking with me, I'm gonna talk. And they left me alone. And so,
but do you think that was crazy talk though?
No, absolutely not. You think, let's talk about it. We talking about the CIA. We talking about Central Intelligence Agency. You think that they wasn't keeping tabs on Franklin this whole time? You think they weren't keeping tabs on Teddy this whole? We seen what happened with Teddy. Teddy had to move to goddamn Bolivia, damn near. You know what I'm saying? So the CIA and the government, all them, they knew what the fuck was going on. So when he said, yo, I talk, ain't no telling when that was. He was just telling the story. We don't know when that story actually happened. We don't know when he might have been doing that shit right after the whole calling with the people with the taxes, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't know exactly when the story was. So him saying that to me and being, you know what I'm saying, a child of living in the hood and everything else, like yo, I've heard crackheads tell all kind of stories. I remember it was this one dude, and I don't remember his name, but I know everybody used to call him John John. I don't know if that was if John was his real name, whatever, but everybody used to call him John John, and he was a crackhead. But John John used to run the streets, do everything else. But one dude who was older, who went to high school with this nigga and everything else, told us, hey, this nigga was the best basketball player he's ever seen. Like literally the best basketball player he's ever seen. Motherfucker could dunk, shoot, all that, play defense, everything. Could have went to the league. Start smoking crack. Now he John John.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Same thing I talked about earlier when I talked about the nigga Virgil. Virgil was a nigga that was heavy in the city. I'm talking about heavy in the city, like bitches, cars, houses, everything. Lost everything because niggas got jealous, slipped him a Mickey. You know what I'm saying? Fucked them up. That type shit. Like, so it's motherfuckers out there that really be telling shit, and because they in the position that they in, nobody takes them serious because it's like, who the fuck gonna believe a crackhead? Who the fuck gonna believe a junkie? Who the fuck gonna believe a bum? Who the fuck gonna believe a drunkard, right? You just hear the motherfuckers talking. And so now that he's in the position he's in, because at this point, like, image is everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, if a motherfucker walked up to you with a hole in his pants and some beat up shoes and a tattered shirt and a hat that's missing the straps, you know what I'm saying? And came up to you and was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I'm a fashion designer. I want you to invest, you know what I'm saying, $10. You know what I'm saying? You'll be like, man, if you don't get your ass out of here, you ain't about to get drunk off my shit. Move, motherfucker. You ain't no goddamn fashion designer. You a hobo. Next thing you know, you look on TV on Entertainment Tonight. This nigga styling everybody walking down the red carpet. But because of the way he dressed, you like, man, that motherfucker was a hobo. And so, like, especially during that time, and I know you remember for sure, because you know what I'm saying, you a little bit older than me. So in the early 90s, like when them motherfuckers was walking around and doing what they was doing, you was like, man, anybody listening to this motherfucker, man? What do you want? Come fix my car so I can give you a little bit of money. You get the fuck out of my face. That type shit. You know what I'm saying? Nobody ever took them serious. And you know what I'm saying? Because Franklin said what he said, it may have sounded as if, yeah, he ain't really said that shit, but I kind of believe it. You know what I'm saying? I kind of believe, like, at one point he told him, if you motherfuckers keep fucking with me, bro, I'm gonna start talking. And I got all the evidence to prove the shit. I got shit that, you know, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because he was so calculated in what he was doing, I think that he was able to be the one that say, if y'all don't quit fucking with me, I'm gonna release this evidence I got. Because remember the one time when he broke in, you know what I'm saying, all the shit and found out who Teddy was for real because of Irene Abe.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no telling the shit that, you know, at this point they probably thinking that, well, shit, maybe he got some shit that we may not know about. You know what I mean? Like at that point when he told Leon that story, he could have been telling the truth. And I think that a lot of people kind of overlooked that because when he said it, like, yo, he was for real with that shit. Like, yeah, I told them motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying? If they don't quit watching me and quit following me, shit, I'ma talk. And then he looked at him, he paused for a minute, and they stopped. And I think that was a point that was super overlooked in this episode because that was an opportunity where somebody could have exposed the government for what it really was. And remember, in the beginning of the episode, he went to Sissy's trial and Sissy tried to do it. And what they do, they overlooked it when she tried to do it. So when he finally threatens them face to face, or not face to face, but when he basically threatens them, you know what I'm saying, personally, then everything goes away for a minute. And then, of course, it trickles down all the way to the LAPD. And now it's like, yo, you know, we can't really do too much but let the LAPD deal with it. Tell them to go get them. Blah blah blah. And if you pay attention to the way things was, remember when they went to go knock on that door and when they went to get that battering ram out, it wasn't a thing of if anybody was in there. They knew he was in there. They knew for sure he was in there. Because remember, they said they knocked on the door in the background. If you go back and watch it and listen, they knocked on the door in the background and they said, "Come out, and we can make this an easy thing. You don't want us to do it the hard way." I think that this was like a pass down, thing.
So let me play devil's advocate. So the KGB dude, they called Franklin. Well, they paged him at the when he was at the bar. Drop him off at this place. Don't look back. Come along, right? Okay. We never seen or heard from that KGB guy ever again after Franklin drops him off. So what I'm saying is they got rid of him without a trace. So fast forward. So now you got this guy that we have seen turned into, if they're watching him like you say, this guy has turned into a complete alcoholic, living in a house with no water, no electricity, all of that shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you got rid of the KGB dude without a trace,
mm-hmm.
why wouldn't you just get rid of Franklin and burn the house down? It's not like they never burnt somebody's fucking house down before.
Because you don't.
Why not snuff him when you see him walk to the store to get another bottle of alcohol?
I'm with you, but this is the thing: when you're doing reconnaissance, when you're doing that type of work, you also don't know everything, right? And so, because remember, they can't find Louis. They looking for Louis. They got Sissy. Leon is still in play. Wanda is still in play. You don't know what he has on the back burner. So somebody like that who's been dealing with the CIA for years and everything else, you don't know what he has, in the tuck. And so, yeah, you can go ahead and kill him. But who's to say that if you kill him, a recording may come out or anything may come out of where him and Teddy talking about the fucking CIA. You know what I'm saying? You can't really grasp any of that. You got to remember at this point, they on their toes because when Irene was alive, Irene Alton exposed Teddy. And that already got around to the city. That was already a situation that they had to deal with. Remember, Teddy had to take Alton out and had to take Irene out to save his name just to be okay so he wouldn't get killed. And so now that, you're dealing with Franklin, yeah, this is somebody he was dealing with directly, but you don't know what he has and what he's capable of. And I think that was the genius thing of I keep forgetting the CIA handler's name. But shit, he was only in the show for fucking 10 minutes. But that was the genius part on him was to be like, hey, bring the KGB dude, we'll leave you the fuck alone. Because once they got him the KGB dude, not only was that a way to scrap everything that, could have possibly been exposed or whatever, but remember, and I brought this up earlier, this is around the time of the Cold War. This is the time Red Dawn and all that shit is coming out, everything. And so now you can't have you can't have somebody who's supposedly working with Russia, because we don't even know if this nigga was KGB or not, because he was Mexican. First off, he was just saying he was KGB. So let's bring that there, because my whole thing is, was this nigga really KGB? And yeah, we know we seen him talk to some people, but come on, man, was this motherfucker really KGB? You know what I'm saying? We don't know. But you don't want to risk it because you don't have enough information. Pretty much.
This is true. This is true. Look, man, to watch Franklin go from basically a single parent home, I would
Mm-hmm.
say middle class. They seem to be doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
To see
Well,
him,
it wasn't single parent at first. Let's not do that
yeah.
because it
But
wasn't
when the
single parent
show
at first.
started, Alton wasn't living there when the show first started.
Well, okay. So this is my thing, right? Let's not go off of that. Let's go off of seasons because, like, as it built up, we realized that earlier, as shit went along, he wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't his, or that wasn't all of their scenarios. And so, like, as we watch the seasons and go through these 6 seasons, we realize that, flashbacks and everything added in, that shit kind of culminated to what it was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the only point that I was trying to make was basically he comes from middle class black home
Mm-hmm.
in the
Mm-hmm.
hood,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
turns into a kingpin that gets up to $73 million to saying I'm
Losing it
free
all.
after they bust in his house
That
to
was
basically
already
evict him.
that was already getting evicted.
Yeah, with no power, no electricity. You
No
know what I'm saying?
electricity.
So to get to the heights, I mean, dude, you remember that house that he bought up in the hills? You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? To
Mm-hmm.
get to where he got to be where he is now.
And you know who fucked that up for him?
Teddy.
Fucking Teddy, bro.
So
He kind of deserved to get shot that way. I ain't gonna lie to you. He was a fucking dick. Not no, for real. Think about this, bro. Like, he fucked up Franklin shit. He fucked his shit up. Fucked his son shit up. Then this nigga went to South America. Fucked that shit up too. Don't forget, when this nigga was in South America, the fucking government came through and swept that shit out. And he was like the only survivor except for one chick. And I think that he had an affair with that, or some type of relationship with that chick, and left her too. This nigga Teddy ain't shit. What
Hey,
the
boy, you
fuck is
wild.
wrong with this nigga, man?
Yo, you wild. Yeah, I will say this, man. I was late on it. I listened
Mhm.
to the episode of Isaiah John on the 85 South show,
Yeah, yeah,
and they got to talking about Carter, which plays Teddy. And
yeah.
he was like, he didn't understand the significance of the show. He was like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, everybody hates me.
Yeah,
He was like, everywhere
yeah,
I go, everybody hate me.
yeah.
And he said that he had to tell him, like, dude, you just don't understand our fan base from our
Absolutely,
point of view.
absolutely.
Like to what I'm saying, to the black community, like, nah, we don't fuck with you.
Yeah,
You know
you
what I'm saying?
fucking
Because
Teddy. Yeah, you Teddy.
yeah, you the op. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
But you know what though? I
you,
think, and I think that's why this show is so great, because when you have somebody like that who, they know it's a TV show, they know that it's just acting or whatever, but when they're so separated from, what I'm saying, who this show was geared towards, and what I'm saying, just like when Isaiah was talking, he was saying, like, yo, this motherfucker, when I'm in the goddamn airport, everybody coming up, I'm taking pictures and that. He said, so when we talking, yo, he like, hey man, people fucking hate me. And he don't understand why. That's what to me makes Teddy so great. That's what shows you how great of an actor he is because he's so disassociated with, what I'm saying, the core audience, that even though he's doing such an amazing job and even though he's doing great work, he doesn't understand the impact that it has on that audience. and not only that, just the fact that that he can be looked at as that character. You know what I'm saying? For black actors and everybody else, I think they kind of understand, because when we see characters, we kind of, associate them with that character. So for instance, like when Chadwick Boseman was acting, rest in peace, and he was doing everything, he was every black historical character. And it was like, all right, man, he can't be all these motherfuckers, but he was James Brown, Thurgood Marshall. I mean, he was goddamn everybody. This nigga ended up being Black Panther. You know what I'm saying? And so for us, it's like, yo, these are the motherfuckers that we fuck with. These are the people that we, you know what I'm saying, we watch. I mean, think about it. For the longest time, bro, Denzel Washington, it's motherfuckers that still believe the picture of Denzel Washington is Malcolm X.
Yeah, there
You know
are
what I'm
some
saying?
people
Because
that
they
believe
do,
that shit.
yeah, because they do so great at these roles. And so when you got a guy like Teddy who's so disassociated, but he's so great at what he does in this role, I mean, it's like, damn, man, it's just a testament of how well they've done as a cast, as a writing team, as a production in general. You know what I'm saying? You kind of see that these motherfuckers really did what the fuck they're supposed to do. Like at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you already know, we say this all the time on this show, or as much as possible. When you hate a motherfucker in a role, you know they acting their ass off. You know they acting their ass off. Because if not, if a motherfucker is playing a bad guy and you don't hate him for real, you like, nah, he is alright. But when you looking at that motherfucker like, man, if I see this nigga in the street, I might stab this nigga. He's doing a hell of a fucking job. But it's the same thing I say with the villains in movies. A movie will only be so good as its villain. Same thing with TV shows. A show will only be so good as the villain. And Teddy played the perfect villain from start to finish. They built you up and they brought you down and they built you up again. But this time, guess what? They brought you right back down. And I mean, kudos to him. He did a hell of a fucking job, bro.
Man, shout out to Carter Hudson, man.
Absolutely.
He
Absolutely. I'd like
definitely
to
did.
see him in other stuff too.
Well, he's in this new Apple show.
Mm-hmm.
I've been wanting to watch it. I just haven't had the time to check it out yet. But
Yeah.
but it's so weird seeing him as something else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man. Shout out to Carter Hudson, man. He did a phenomenal job playing Teddy.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man.
So Fire
So
Flames, man.
no. We're not gonna do Fire Flames. I got something different.
Okay, you got something different. All
Let's
right,
try
hit
this.
me with it.
Where would you rank Snowfall in your all-time TV shows?
Now, okay, so we
It don't gotta
did.
be it could be top whatever, but where would you rank it in your all-time favorite TV shows?
Okay, so we did top 10 TV shows
Mm-hmm.
a couple months back. I
Mm-hmm.
had Snowfall in there, but I think I had it outside the top 5 because we didn't see the ending.
Mm-hmm.
You had it up there without seeing the ending. Now with seeing the ending, it's a top 5 show for me. Could possibly go in the top 3, but it's definitely. I might keep it at 5 because
Mm-hmm.
you look, man. It's very simple for me, man. In no order, man. Sopranos, Luther, Ray Donovan.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's right. Snowfall is right in that mix for me of those shows, of all time shows. So it's definitely top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how I'm feeling, I could be prisoner of the moment and sneak it up to 3, but
Okay.
it's in that top shit, at least top 4 shit. I'll put it that way. It's a top 4 TV show of all time for me.
Man, listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's definitely top 3 for me. Um, I have never been invested in a show as much as I have been in Snowfall. And the crazy part is that I've said it before. I've gotten on Snowfall late. I got on Snowfall because my brother was talking about Snowfall, and from binging it from season one, I believe, to like midway through season three, I got hooked. And it's not too many times you can get a show where, if you think about it, the character development was always there, the plot was always there. Even in even if you go back to season five after watching season six and go back to season five, you understand the reason for the episode with the tiger in the cage. You understand that because they had to go through something traumatic. And I'm speaking of Franklin and Gustavo, or also for those who don't know, his name is Gustavo. Um, they had to go through something super traumatic to be able to later on down the line. Here we are in season six, and he's telling, what I'm saying, also to go back to wrestling. We needed all of that for this reason. And I think that because they've done such a great job writing, that we kind of looked at the previous seasons compared to that season five, because a lot of people say season five shit kind of just went haywire. We needed that season five to kind of develop characters and get into character stories and backgrounds, so on and so forth, to be able to get to where we are in season six. And because of that, I mean, even going back and rewatching it is just like it ain't a miss. There's no miss in this series at all. The way that they tied it up, the way that they put everything together, him going to find Peaches finally, getting Peaches and realizing that Peaches ran through the money. You know what I'm saying? Veronique finally leaving him. His mom sacrificing everything. Leon, you know what I'm saying? Not giving him the money. Listening to Sissy, going back to Ghana. You know what I'm saying? Teddy dying. Jerome breaking down the way he did. Jerome even dying. You know what I'm saying? Like everything came together so well. Like once again, like I said, they put the perfect bow on this. This was the perfect present for television, especially drama television. You can't beat it, bro. This is definitely a top three show for sure. I mean, if you want to go Sopranos, The Wire, Breaking Bad, and Snowfall, between those four, you gotta put Snowfall in that top three. One of those drops out. I'm sorry.
For me, it's The Wire.
Okay.
For me, I dropped The Wire. I thought Breaking Bad was better than The Wire. That's
Yeah.
just my personal opinion.
Yeah. And I mean, even some say, even some will bring up even some bring up Oz, because Oz was a great show too. But like out of those, I mean, shit, still top three, bro.
I feel like I say, man, it's lingering up there, man. It's definitely top five, top four for me.
For sure.
But yeah, I'm not mad at it, man. This is one of the best finales that I've seen, knowing that it's the finale. It's one of the best I've ever seen. So shout out to everybody on a phenomenal job that they did.
Absolutely. All right, man. So let's get into the coming soon, bro.
Man, let's do it.
All right, man. What we got for the coming soon?
Okay. For the people, we got a little, what they call it? Not a biopic, but a little mini series. I'm so excited to do this. I fell into a wormhole a couple of years ago. Of the backstory of this. In 2018, there was a show, a mini series that they did called Waco. You know what I'm saying? And then they also had like the real documentary of it come out right after or right before it, and I was on it, man. It's about David Kanish. Another oh man, what you call those guys?
Patriot.
What? You stupid.
Quote unquote Patriot.
Man, listen, man, he was a cult leader, man. But we got There's a new miniseries on Netflix called Waco: An American Apocalypse, and
Mhm.
man, I'm so ready for this, man. Because I thought the story was very, very interesting. Just how someone can convince people to join these cults and to just completely brainwash people
Mhm.
to be to convince another man to basically let you sleep with his fucking wife and fucking yo. We'll get into it when we get into it, but
Absolutely.
I'm definitely excited to watch this to see if there's any new information because like this came out in 2023. It just came out. The
Yeah.
last time I watched anything on David Koresh was back in 2018. So
Mhm.
it's gonna be interesting to see some of the interviews, see if there's any new information that came out from that time. But yeah, man, I'm definitely ready for this next episode.
All right. Now, if I'm not tripping, Waco is in
Texas.
thought so. Okay. So it's
That's where Baylor is.
yeah.
It's a lot of weird shit going down
Yeah.
in Waco,
I
boy.
thought so. So the one thing that kind of reminds me of this situation is the situation that happened in Oregon not too long ago.
We did a podcast on that.
Yeah, for sure. So go back and check that out for sure. But definitely, that's kind of the same, you know what I'm saying, parallel. Um, so yeah, it's gonna be fun as hell for sure. I can't wait to talk about how, you know what I'm saying, you know, they show love to these quote unquote patriots. You know what I'm saying?
you gonna keep calling them Patriots. Okay.
You know what? I think I will do that. I think from now on, I'm gonna use the word Patriots because it all makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
That's funny.
Patriots owner gets caught, you know what I'm saying, getting a hand job at a masseuse parlor. Nothing happened. Sean Watson do it, all of a sudden he ain't shit. So that's all I'm saying. Um, fuck Robert Kraft, man. Um,
Oh, man. That's funny.
hey man, listen. If you know what I'm saying, you are one of the people who've seen Snowfall from the beginning. Oh, wait a minute. Before we close out, man. Jonathan Majors has
Oh,
pretty much been released from all of his previous projects that he was in. More information has came out to say that more accusers have also come out. We don't know all the details, but we do know that he has pretty much been released from damn near everything. Um, the more and more this information is coming out, is it's not looking too bleak, bro. You know what I'm saying? Real quick, just you know what I'm saying, what's your thoughts? And then we can go ahead and go into the ending.
I don't like to compare situations,
Yeah.
but the new guy that plays the Flash
Mm-hmm.
was on a pod. Listen to me, people. A podcast.
Mm-hmm.
What you're listening to right now,
Mm-hmm.
live mic,
Hot mic.
tells a tells a story on how he's basically raped a girl, basically sexually assaulted a girl, and talked about how he got a thrill from it,
Yeah.
and basically saying that's the only type of shit that turns him on. Because he says some shit about how basically he pulls his dick out and basically tell the girl to suck it or whatever, and forces her head down there, like basically shoves his dick in the girl's mouth. He
Yeah.
admits that on a hot mic.
Mm-hmm.
I've only heard somebody talk about that on one podcast. Jonathan Major's whole career is blowing in the wind right now and this dude, who's the new Flash,
gets a whole new movie.
nobody's talking about it. I don't want to compare. All I'm saying is I don't see how there's one accuser, then all of a sudden four more pops out of the woodworks. He loses all his endorsements, all his PR people, all his upcoming movies,
Management.
including what I'm saying, management, including the movie where he was going to do the biopic on Otis Redding.
Mm-hmm.
And this dude is on camera admitting to sexual assault
Mm-hmm.
in his crickets. That's all I gotta say, man.
Yeah. So fuck Robert Kraft and Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller, that's his name. Yes.
Absolutely, yeah. So fuck both of them. Ezra Miller, yeah, for sure, for sure. One thing we do not do on the Views Anonymous podcast is condone any type of assault, battery, coercion, any other word you could think of that is tied to illegal, towards women, females, uh, whatever that ties to.
They heard
Yeah,
all
they
all of
hurt
that.
trans, whatever. We don't play that game at all. Um, we believe in safety for everybody, and we believe in, what I'm saying, freedom for everybody as well. And so, yeah, Ezra Miller should definitely be going down in the dumps, just as well as if Jonathan Majors is guilty of this, the same way Tory Lanez got guilty of what he did. Same thing with everybody else. R. Kelly, all them. Like, if you belong in that pile, bro, fuck you. Plain and simple. Ain't no love for you. Ain't none of that. Um, and so with that being said, if you enjoyed Snowfall for what it was, if you didn't like Snowfall, if you still hate Sissy, you know what I'm saying, after this episode, and you feel like, hey, Franklin was right to call her a bitch, hit us up on the socials, man. Twitter, Instagram at ViewaNonPod, all one word, VIEWANONPOD. Also hit us up on Facebook, VA Pod Watch Group. And you can also make sure when you're on Twitter, you know what I'm saying, jump in the community. Let's talk some talk. You know what I'm saying? Let's get chatting. You already know how it go. Viewers Anonymous. If you can't find it, hit us up on Twitter. We'll invite you in. We'll send you the link. You guys can, join in from there. If you'd like to find me personally, if you disagree with anything I said on this podcast, or if you agree with what I said on this podcast, or you just wanted to say, "What's up, Scoots?" Hit me up at Scoots Brunson. I got a link to my bio. You can find me. That's all I got.
Hey, boy, you stupid. Y'all can find me, man, at s.foster8 on Instagram and on Twitter. At 28 minutes or less pod. That's just on IG. Follow the podcast 28 minutes or less. Like he mentioned earlier in the pod, the last pod right now is Jamaica Thompson, episode 121. I got something else brewing, so be on the lookout for that. But that's all I got, man.
That's right, man. And for the fans of the 4-3, if you are listening, guess what? We have another episode dropping soon. Stay on the lookout. Keep those notifications open because it will be dropping soon. And if you can't listen to it, guess what? You can go to Facebook at the 4-3. You can watch us live as we're going. Make sure you keep those notifications on as well. And hey, listen. This has been the ending to a great saga in television history, but I'm sure it won't be the last. But like they say in Hollywood, and I'm sure they said it on the Snowfall set, it's a wrap.
Cut.
This is where we should put It's So Hard to Say Goodbye. All right, man. We out, man. Peace.
Peace.